What's up, guys? It's Colin Coates from Built2Wander. Today I'm out in Hurrican, Utah at Carbon Off-Road. I'm with owner Austin Stobaugh, and I've got his Nitto equipped Jeep Wrangler behind me. Today we're going to talk about his custom coilover suspension setup. It's a little squeaky, and we've got a cool remedy that we're going to put in place to resolve that issue. So follow along as we dive into this and show you guys what we're up to. Before we get started, do me a quick favor, like this video and subscribe to Driving Lines channel, and let's get after it. So like I said, Austin's got a custom coilover suspension setup. A common complaint amongst coilovers is that they're noisy, and his rig makes quite a bit of noise on the trail or even on the street. We're looking into some remedies for that, and we've got a set of AGM coilover sliders that we're gonna install today. So we're gonna show you guys some of the install and just talk you through this awesome solution that makes your coilovers nice and quiet. So we're gonna go ahead and get this thing into the shop and get started right away. All right, so we got Austin's Jeep up on the lift, and we pulled the front tire off. We're gonna start in this front corner. Now, coilover suspension has become very popular over the years, and for good reason too. They make for a comfortable ride when they're tuned correctly, and they have a ton of adjustability built into the design. But one of the common complaints is that they're noisy. Why is that, Austin?
Well, oftentimes the slider's rubbing on the shock body here, so you can see there, I got a pretty shiny spot here, and this stock slider just deflects. It allows the springs to move around. They rub on the body themselves. They eat up your crossover rings, so it just allows the spring to contact the body, and you know, there's a better way to do that. So
we've got a set of AGM coilover sliders. They're a three-piece design. And what they do is they hold the springs truer to the shock body, and they prevent the springs from physically deflecting into the shock body. So they're preserving the shock itself, and two, they're eliminating that noise. So we're gonna dive in, show you guys what those coilover sliders look like and the process of swapping them out and getting this thing squeak free.
Yeah, the big thing about that three-piece design, when you run different weights, these are gonna compress at different, obviously different rates. So as these twist, right now, this slider has no way to move, but that three-piece design allows the bottom and upper spring to move independently of themselves. So that's gonna save, like I said, all that noise and the wear on the body, make it much better.
Right on. Let's get started here.
Pulled the factory slider off my coilover here, and as you can see, there's some pretty good wear on the slider itself. And right about where that is, you can actually see the slider's been wearing on the body of the shock shaft, or the shock itself. These stock sliders allow some deflection. It's got a really short lip for the lower spring here, so it just doesn't hold those springs 100% true, especially when you're running some lighter weights. Like us Jeep guys do, we don't always run those really heavy weights that stay true on their own. So the AGM one's three-piece design, so it has a very similar internal body that's actually going to be touching the shock. But then you have these two aluminum pieces on the outside that allow the bottom and top to move independently. So when you do run different weights, those can compress and twist as they need to. And because it's got the three-piece, it is a little bit longer design, so it helps keep those coils straight and true away from the body. So you shouldn't have any rubbing like that, and that's where most of that noise comes from, is just this stock slider rubbing up against it. It's some a polymer or plastic or something like that. So when dirt and debris get in here, it's just rubbing and chafing against the body of the shock, and you get some audible noise. So hopefully this is going to be our fix.
Like a boss. All right, took us a couple hours, but we've got all 4 AGM coilover sliders in place. Basically, to install them, all we did was drop the lower coilover mounts. We pulled the bolts on the lower mounts, drop the springs out, swap out the sliders, put the springs back in, throw in the lower bolts. Now, Austin's setup is a little custom. He's got trailing arms in the rear. That slowed us down a little bit, just getting all the little spacers to align. But we knocked it out, so we're gonna drop this thing down off the lift, and then tomorrow we're gonna hit the trail and see literally what the difference is. Hopefully it'll be squeak free and a lot more fun to go out and wheel in. Be able to actually hear yourself having a conversation instead of a Motel 6 mattress.
No balls.
All right, we're hitting the trail today out here in Sand Hollow, which happens to be right in Austin and Courtney's backyard. We've got a couple of his buddies out here, and Courtney with her TJ, and we're gonna see how these AGM coilover sliders do. We also turned to Onyx Off-Road so we can kind of find the right trail to run for the day. They've done a great job mapping this area because there's a whole load of trails that kind of intertwine and maze through each other, and it can be easy to get turned around. So it's been really nice to be able to find a trail and follow that. Yeah, what do you think so far, Austin? We having a good time?
Yeah, so far so good. Having a blast.
Yeah, right on. All right, so we're making our way down the trail. We've been up some climbs. We've gotten this thing really flexed out. What do you think so far about these AGM coilover sliders?
So I still have a squeak or two here and there. It's probably Heims or sway bar, but the sliders themselves and the coilovers are extremely quiet compared to what they are. I no longer have that like high pitch, like mattress style squeak. So it's definitely better, and I'm very happy, especially with the shocks being in the tub. It's very noticeable when they are loud. So I'm extremely happy with the change between the O.E sliders and the AGMs.
Right on. Yeah, I've noticed a difference. I've been wheeling with Austin a few times over the last year. I know how loud this thing was. So, I mean, like he said, you still get a squeak here and there. That's just kind of the nature of mechanical parts that are moving and twisting and loading in different ways. But overall, I'm pretty impressed with how much quieter it's become. So we're having a blast out here, and we got a few more obstacles ahead of us on the trail. We're gonna take them in stride and have some more fun. All right, guys, we just got back from wheeling out in Sand Hollow with Austin and Courtney. I'm so stoked with the improvements that these AGM Coilover sliders made on his rig. If you've got coilovers, I suggest you check them out. I think they can make a big difference for you as well. If you have any questions about them, drop us a note below. And as always, hit the like button if you did and subscribe if you haven't. Until next time, wander on.